Hello and thanks for joining me today. In this video I will be showing you the new strike coming with the House of Wolves. The Shadow Thief will be available for all consoles, so you'll see the strike from start to finish, so be warned, you may see some spoilers. First off, I'll be giving you just my impressions on the strike. We only had enough time to give it one run through, so I won't be going too much into the solo strategies that you should use to be successful here, but those will come later on down the road once I've had more time with the strike. As you can see, we started off with a pretty familiar location on the moon, and were immediately met by hive resistance. Multiple shriekers littered the landscape, but we quickly killed them. We made our way into the hive fortress, where I promptly died. I was trying to explore and see if there were any new areas that were added. Once Datto res me, we all agreed to just stop dying to stupid things and pressed on. We moved further into the hive fortress and took a left into the new area. I'd already explored this area in the beta, so I was feeling pretty confident in killing everything. Numerous fallen were transported down, and we had to quickly clear up to the teleporter to stop them. At least, that's what we assumed. All of a sudden, this boss just instantly teleports on top of us and almost kills our entire team in one hit. Datto was able to survive and got the rest of us up, so then we got to work on actually taking this guy down. He was a rather large Kel named Tanix the Scarred, and he was equipped with a scarily sized Scorch Cannon. We immediately went ape when we saw it, knowing that we could pick it up at some point. After we did a bit of damage to him, he teleported up, so we made haste and jumped up into the teleporter too, making our way up to a fallen catch. The halls were all too familiar, and for anyone who's followed our channel for a while, this leak was one of our very first videos. This time though, there's actually enemies. The fallen that protect Tanix surrounded us, and Tanix decided that now would be a great opportunity to port into the middle of our group again and just be a pain. We had to disperse and be careful here, so we took out some of the remaining mobs in the room and watched each other's backs. Tanix finally teleported away from us, and we made our way further into the ship. The next room we entered had lots of random cover scattered about, which is needed, because a wolfwalker decided to join the party. We instantly retreated to a better position and started clearing the room a bit more so we could get some solid one-on-one time with this new mini-boss. As I was dealing sniper damage to the walker, I noticed something on my radar while I reloaded. A new mob called an Exploding Shank was slowly making its way towards me. Based on the name, I knew that it needed to be taken down from a distance, and sure enough, it exploded when it got close to me. After we downed the walker and finished off the rest of the mobs, we made our way further into the catch. Right when the doors opened, Tanix surprised me and I died from not being careful. His rocket launcher hit me square in the face, but fortunately the rest of my fire team was more reserved, so they brought me back from the dead and we pressed on. We saw another new type of shank called a repeater shank. We didn't let them live long enough to actually see them in action, but they basically shoot very fast, making them really deadly. Remember kids, the only good shank is a dead shank. The next room that we entered was the final room where we got to finally kill Tanix. He couldn't teleport away to safety anymore, so we got to eat our sniper and heavy rounds for a bit until he called in for some reinforcements. His attacks were pretty simple to avoid in this room. It offered ample cover from both him and the adds that came during the fight. Once we actually downed him, he dropped his rocket weapon. The dregs were still pouring into the room, so I picked it up with great enthusiasm and began exterminating anything that wasn't in my fire team. A special note, the Scorch Cannon, aka the Rocket Relic, launches sticky bombs that will explode once you release the trigger. So you can launch it near a choke point and keep the trigger held down until some mobs are nearby, or put it on a mob and let him run into another group. It has many more uses than the simple point and shooting that I was doing with it. I recommend holding down the trigger so that the blast radius is increased when you finally get to use this. But as for my first impressions, I'll mainly say that it was fun, but I think that's mostly due to it being the first time that I ran through it and the adrenaline of the setting that I was in. Looking back at it with a critical eye, it wasn't too different from what we've seen. We did get to see the final boss throughout the strike, so we got to actually grow to hate him, as he always teleported into our group to ruin our day. That interaction did help him develop a personality to us. We were always weary of where we were since Tanix was pretty much stalking us throughout the ship. Aside from that though, nothing was really different besides a couple shank variants. We fought some waves of enemies, fought a mini-boss that had adds spawning during the fight, and then fought a final boss who summoned adds after a bit. I think they really missed an opportunity here to actually let us interact with the ship itself. It would have been really cool to have to disable the ship in some way, like shooting its engine from the inside, which caused Tanix to finally take notice of us. Really anything would have been nice to break up the monotonous procedure of going into a strike and killing stuff. That being said though, I did enjoy the strike for what it did right. It felt like a good length overall, only taking us about 14 minutes to clear through it in our first run. It'll probably be one of the quicker strikes once people get a hang of it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm interested in hearing what you guys have to say about this strike. This has been Patrick Casey with Planet Destiny, your guide to the Destiny universe.